But Landon's doing some real beautiful work on a, in fact, let me show you before we get into the dampers. Yeah, show them, I'll point out a few things. So let me point out a few things that Landon's done beautifully. First of all, look at the complete contact and this beautiful curve that he reproduced. You can also see from our carbon marks along the whole thing that the whole thing's mated really well to this flange in here, right?
That's fine.
So it's gonna support the stress of the strings without allowing the block to change much, right? We've got our screw holes in here, and just look how well it mates up when this bows out a little bit, so you see a bigger gap right now, right? But when it's glued, this will be clamped in, and this will actually straighten this out, and it'll be just right. The other thing is, if we were to drop the plate right now, am I gonna slow you up, Landon, if I drop the plate real quick? No. Check this out. Let's drop this in. So about there. Don't worry, Mark, I got it because of our fancy. I gotta show off the fancy lift. Oh, there's a pencil. You gotta take your pencil out of there. Then we can slow up the lift and just from the front drive it in without, any issues. Okay. So then I was gonna show y'all. So now if we look, he's fitted so that look in these screw holes along the perimeter. The old holes. Here, let me do it so that so the old holes there match up perfectly with the plate holes. So we're looking at the holes in the wood below that. So that shows us that the pin block is located in the exact position where it was before. And we use the Bolduc way of doing that with these wedges that index things initially. And right now it's not totally exactly in place because it's going to be clamped in. So when it's clamped in, and these pencil lines end up a little higher than the plate. So that's just right the way that looks right now. And when it's going to be clamped in, it'll be a little tighter. And also Landon's making an adjustment side to side. So this is going to go over to the base side like another 64th of an inch or so, not like hardly anything. And then it'll be totally centered. And that's going to be totally, anyway, everything's located right where it was before basically, which is very cool. And I was just showing you how it lines up with all the perimeter lag holes. If you didn't have any indexing holes or wedges here, some people drill holes in the plate to index it. We don't do that, which is fine. I mean, it's fine if you fill it again and it's invisible. I don't care. But what I'm saying is you can also do it. Say you got the piano in this condition where the strings were already off, but the plate was unscrewed. You could just line up those holes around that perimeter and you'd end up being in the same place basically. As far as for the thickness, I'll show you what we do there. This is the old block. Look, we take a thickness reading this way and we write it in 4 places how thick it was, okay? And then we plane it down. We plane the new block down to that point. Okay, so it's really, so then that duplicates the height so that the string height's going to be virtually the same where it was. So that's just an example of the quality of Landon's work. Do you want me to lift this plate out?
Sure.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to take that for me. Anyway, that was just a little detour. Then I'll just crank this up. Yeah, so anyway, that's just an example of this Landon's beautiful quality work. And then we're gonna, when he just can't get ready to glue it in. Of course, it'll be doweled in the front. Those are some next steps. Once he finishes the side to side where he wants. So we have just enough play, but we take the cuttings from the sides and make a veneer. we just make a veneer that matches the shape of the block perfectly, because it came right off of the block, okay? So this one's from the other side, but anyway, so that's what he's doing now. Just he's gonna get it that left and right position just perfectly, and he's really only narrowing it down by like 32nd or 64th of an inch. That's not that much difference. What's so funny?
I'll just landed in the background.
Oh. What are you doing? Getting your munchies? Okay. Anyway. So, good job, Landon. Yay. Oh, and also on this one, we pulled the bridge pins. We're not doing a new bridge cap on this piano. The customer elected not to put that degree of work into it. But we will, oh, we need to do the base pins too eventually. But we're gonna plane the bridge down just a little bit. We'll re-black it, and then I'm gonna re-notch it just a little bit more so that it'll look like a new bridge with new wood. If there were any chips or anything like this, really, it came out really clean. But sometimes it's impossible because the wood is already kind of cracked or whatever, right? So, but we'll do a fill on that to make it look just perfect and just be totally invisible. Yeah, so the bridge will look really good. And it'll function better. The new pins will be epoxied in just with a drop at the bottom of the hole. You won't see anything from the top like someone putting super glue. You know, it'll look really classy. And then this decal will be reproduced so that we can finish the soundboard. Of course, all these cracks. In this case, the piano will be dried down, flipped over, and the cracks filled with a very, very runny epoxy that takes a long time to set. And I'm loving that epoxy. We basically paint the bottom of the board with that on these old pianos like this where they're not getting a new board, but it's all cracked up. And it really restores the sound. I've not been disappointed with a single piano that we've done that to. All right, let's get back to the task at hand. So, good job, Landon.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we're gonna throw this back action in. We've already prepped it. What you missed is I drilled all these holes out. And today we finally decided a formula. Okay, how much bigger should it be than the wire? And if you want, you can you just zoom in. Like, can you just get like everywhere really close? Sorry. Put you to work. Okay. So, oh, you're zooming from there.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see this hole?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So really close enough to see the gap there?
Hmm.
Oh, I'll just trust you, Mark. So anyway, this was not this loose, but we want to see a little gap, like just the start of a crescent moon on either side. It's going to help us. First of all, now it's free, okay? That's going to just really speed us up in terms of setting the timing on these dampers. I won't have to do a lot of, renewed bends on this. Mostly what I end up doing on these is just putting them in, setting the timing, and then just kind of working with the new felt, making sure that's seated in the strings well, and also the spacing of the heads ends up a little bit different. But we drew this out. We decided that 9 thousandths bigger than the wire was a good fit, right? That's what it was, 9. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna throw this in. And my goal here, let's see if I can actually do it, is to really get in the flow of the work on this one, and just kind of flow as quickly as I might on my own. I'll try and just yell out things as I go. That way you can see things coming together a little faster, and get a feel for the overall process. Okay. And Mark's been kind enough to wait for traffic and film for me tonight, so that we'll get a lot bit more interesting shots than if I was just setting the camera down around. That gets, I realize, hard to tell what's going on. So first we're just going to stick this in the back action, okay? And then we're going to, before we forget, and what other prep did we do? We cleaned this off. We made sure that nothing needed to be repinned. And we made sure that, I think the screw hole's stripped. Did you notice that, Landon? Oh, no, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just like, it's getting tight. Oh, it's not stripped. It just took forever to screw that thing in. Anyway, of course, we'll put a spring there. Now, before I forget, the first thing I'm going to do is stick the damper upstop rail in. And on this piano, it's not in bad shape, okay? I'm just going to vacuum it off some dust, but there's enough felt there. It's not going to be loud. It'll do its job. I'm just going to pick off these little fuzzies just so they don't get in the way. Okay, then we'll find our screws in the box. Damper upstop somewhere. We hope. Oh, you know what? Nope. I thought they would already be in there. Oh, someone labeled them back action screws. That's why. They should be labeled damper upstop rail screws. That's okay. Alright, we'll just touch these up real quick. They got rust on them. We'll just touch them up with the old what do you call this? Deburring wheel. Yeah, they'll be shinier. We'll just throw them right there for now. Those will wipe off fine. Just got some black on it from the polish. Let's wipe these off. They sparkle and shine like diamonds. So that's good. All right. Now, no one's going to see these maybe, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and take the part label off. We don't need that in anymore. And for now, I'm just going to get this kind of out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and stick that spring in there now before I screw that. So it should be this guy here. I'm just going to stick him where he goes. This piano was already fit with this. This piano is 1930. So, you know, at least as of 1930, they were doing this type of spring, we know. Okay. Now I'm going to stick the rail in and just kind of finger tighten. And Mark, if you need me to move out of the way or anything, or you know what I mean, or if you get different angles. Mm-hmm. Okay, for now, I just want to get it high enough that it's definitely out of the way. Okay. You know what? Actually, I'm going to try the old. This has been working well for me. When I just use the old impressions, I haven't been disappointed actually. So We'll do that instead. You can see in the wood what I'm talking about, where the screw is compressed the wood and made a mark. I'm just going a little bit higher than those old impressions. Okay. Right. A good controlled way to lift that rail is to use the under lever sometimes. If the rail has to be bowed slightly because it's warped or something, that's a good way to do it. There. Okay. I like that. Good. Now I am realizing that we do have a little bit of a problem, but we'll solve it in a minute, which is that I don't know if the Lyre is ready to put on. We might need to rebush the Lyre before we can put it on, in which case I'll have to do that first. But so Landon has drilled this out already to convert it to a floating pitman style. And so that's why that dowel goes free there. I'm gonna go ahead and we're fine. Okay. So what I want to do now is find the timing. I want to find at what height those wires should be clamped so that it times out right where the key lifts the damper after about a third through the way through the key's stroke, which coincidentally is about when the hammer is halfway to the string. So, first thing I want to do is not that. First thing I want to do is take the fourth damper in and put it in and screw it in place. And the fourth damper in. This works well with Steinways anyway. Other pianos may not work out with the fourth damper. But this I know that they're a white key basically, okay? Alright. So now I'm going to get this one in the flange down there. I'm looking through the strings to put it in the hole down there. Then I'm going to tighten those in place. I'm going to make sure that the under lever is down on the tray, and I'm just going to secure that wire in place. And this damper set will be regulated so much nicer than the last one I did because it's 1930 to 1901, big difference in the design.
What name product epoxy do you use on the soundboard?
Oh, that's proprietary. No, I'm just kidding. The stuff that we like a lot, now it takes a long time to cure, so we don't use it for everything. If we need something to be more viscous and to set up faster, we'll use a different one. But it's called Rot Terminator. And here you can find it at Ace Hardware. So, isn't that what it's called, Lennon? Rot Terminator. And it's meant to restore wood that is rotted a lot, right? And to kind of make it whole again. So it absorbs really well into the wood. But then sometimes we've also tried, what's the one that you put on right there? Go film it and just show the bottle. The other one. This one cures overnight most of the way.
Well, it's the mix, right?
Yeah, well, they're all a mix like that. What's the brand on that one?
System 3.
System 3.
T88.
Yeah, System 3 T88 structural epoxy. Someone said that's what this astronauts used, so or NASA, so we use it for something. Okay, that's in. Those wires are secured. Now I'm gonna set the timing with the key lift to the proper place. So basically, I'm gonna adjust that tray height where it needs to be, so that when all the dampers are tightened, it will. What's the word? Spacing out. It will. They'll be timed correctly. Okay, let's see if the Lyre is put together at all with new bushing cloth. Oh, you okay? Oh, good. These have been rebushed. Okay, we put new bushing cloth in here, and another technician here did it for us. These here, this piece has not been rebushed. We do need to rebush that. I would like the pedals operating before we get going on this, so I'm going to go ahead and put these together. Shouldn't be too bad. You'll see how we do this. Not anything special, really. Well, it's special. It's just not difficult if you know what to do. So I'm going to remove these.
I'm gonna go wash my hands real quick.
Okay.
Got some epoxy.
Uh-oh.
Here. There's good.
Okay. So this has just been finished over with polyester, and the cloth that was in there, they just sprayed right over it. That's what they do. I'm gonna go get a drill bit. And I'm just gonna drill these out so we can put new cloth in. Okay. I might drill it different size later, but for now we'll start with this. Okay. I'll get all the cloth out of there. This bit isn't quite large enough to get all the cloth out. I'm going to go one size larger. Two sizes larger, so here. Let's try this one. And sometimes I find that I want to enlarge the hole a little bit because of the thickness of cloth I have. We'll just see. No, that still doesn't grab it out, so one more size. Not that I'm worried about getting all the old cloth out. That doesn't bother me so much. It's more having the correct size hole for this to be a good fit for the guide pedal rods. The hole was tapered, that's why it was doing that to me. Okay, we'll just drill all these out. Like I said, it's not difficult. You just get the right thing going on. Get some cloth out. Some bushing cloth. Make a little bushing cloth station here. Yeah, that's kind of noise.
Whoops. There. Now it's not.
Alright, let's go over here. And I want to find a thickness that's good for, sorry, better word for that is width. I want to find a width that I like for this hole, okay? So I'm just going to guess. There's fancier ways to do it, but I'm just going to guess. Start out. And we'll probably be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this. I'm just going to make a little slit and rip that. It's nice and woolly, right? Then I'm going to cut this narrow so I can stick it through the hole real nice. And which way is up on this one? The number's written that way, so probably this way. And now, so I pull it through and I'm looking to see, is it overlapping itself a little bit? It's actually doing just great. Okay, I got lucky. It's perfect. It's really tight. I don't have to do anything. I like to leave a little excess on the top. It eliminates the possibility of the rod hitting the wood itself there, and it acts as a reservoir for lubricant. So that's actually beautiful what I just got there. See you, Landon. Thanks. Then I'm just going to trim with really sharp scissors right here. Again, I like to leave a little bit on the bottom for the same reason. It's it'll eliminate the possibility of some issues that can occur. All right, pull this through. I like to have the seam be at a diagonal, not straight on the this way or that way. My theory there is that the rod is less likely to break through that area and rub against the wood. And that would kind of eliminate the purpose of having bushing cloth at that point. Okay. This just worked out really nice. Normally I have to thin up my strip a little bit, but like I said, got lucky. Let's try this out on the rods. So, okay, so here's my pedal rods. I just want to make sure that things are going to run smooth through here because these come in at an angle and they can kind of get bound up. And they don't come at that much of an angle. It's, you know, it's a little more gentle like that. It's pretty good, but what I want to do further, this is satinized. I would like to polish these out in the area where it's going to hit this, okay? So that's going to be about, you know, maybe about there. So I'll polish out this zone right here, okay? This will help it slip more easily through that bushing cloth. Okay, so I kind of got that zone polished out a bit on that one, then we'll do it on this side. Okay, there, now that's a lot more slick, so that when I do this in here, should be about right there. It's just going to go up and down like so. Maybe I need to go lower on it actually, a little bit lower. Yep. Oh, that was an accident. Okay. I'm going to go a little lower with the polishing. Another couple inches here. Oh, sorry, Mark. Here. There, that should do it. Okay, so it's nice and shiny there. Now when we get this together, we should be okay. And now it's still kind of can bind a little bit. I can always put Teflon in there. You know, I can always lubricate this a little bit with, I might do that. It's pretty slick though. I'll just lubricate it with a little bit of Mac lube. And then rub that in. Okay, that kind of coats it even more. Let's see if that did anything good. Yeah, there's less friction there now. I can tell. Okay, now I'm gonna so I'll go ahead and mount this back on the piano. These were my screws, right? Someone replaced these screws at some point. No surprises there. Someone replaced a lot of things on this piano. It's kind of a mess, actually, kind of a Frankenstein. Okay. Get this started here. I'm having a hard time believing that was the screw that was in here. Was it? It was, right? I had a mishap there, didn't I? Okay. Come on, friend. That was weird. Where's my screws? That's a quick screw. Just some kind of aftermarketed it here without tightening it all the way. I don't know if it was a refinisher or who. I'm gonna take it out and put some wax on it. It's just a little bit difficult to run in there. Okay, get some screw wax. Beeswax, I guess. That'll help it get in and get threaded with ease. There's no way this was in there. Should have been drilled out deeper, I can tell. I think someone ran these in here, but they weren't in very tight. Okay, that's good there. Now we have another issue. We made, we had to make another bottom board here. So this has been duplicated. So we have to do screw holes on this, okay? So I'm going to take these off, these raviolis. I'm going to reuse them actually, even though they're old, they work great. And I like these raviolis. They're just tacked in here usually with tacks. Oh, let's see. It's glued in there pretty good. Might need a little hammer or something. Let me try a chisel. Alright, let's try and get in here like so. There, that's a little better. There, we'll just pry those nails up. Last one doesn't want to come. There he goes. Last but not least, okay. So we basically just have to duplicate this. Most all the work's been done, right? This has been finished. This has this beveled edge on it. Usually I think that beveled edge goes down. The original didn't have a beveled edge, but we routed it on this one. So I think beveled edge actually goes on the inner thing like so. Yeah, that's how it goes. See that? How that works out? So I am going to duplicate where the screw holes were. We're just gonna, doesn't matter which way is the front or back, it's uniform, so we're just gonna choose. And let's choose. Yeah. I'm gonna get a little punch to run through there. Or better yet, I'm just gonna clamp them together and just drill through it like that. So let me go get a little clamp. Does this clamp have epoxy on it? Yeah. Sorry. Okay. At some point here, we're going to lose our cameraman, and things will be significantly less cool for you on that end. So sorry about that, but he's got to go. Okay. Just lining that up. But with enough room to get the drill in there. Okay. There, I'm happy with that. It's flush. It's good, it's good. All right. I think that's it. Okay, we're gonna get the drill bit. But here's the thing. Let's find the screws that are going in there. And some bolts. Let's see the hinges what that is. Okay, let's check and see if we stowed these screws. Lyre. Okay, we'll just have to choose some. So, we need to find out which screws were the appropriate size here. Go in there. Something like this, I imagine, is what was in there. I'll see what I can come up with here. It may not have had, uniform screws. It may have had something aftermarket anyway in there. And, like I said, the can was kind of a Frankenstein before. So bear with me while I find some good screws. All of the same gauge. If you will. Find something good. I mean, technically I have 4 screws here, but I'd like them to be a little bit longer. Actually, I have 5. So I either want to find one longer or one shorter, and then we're set. This is just our odds and ends screw graveyard here. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. Got 4 here that'll work. They're different sizes, but they're similar enough and they'll go through and do the job. So I'll just clean them up. No! That was hot. I couldn't tell if I was being poked by a splinter or burned. I think it was both. You know what? I really want one shorter than that. I'm gonna look one moment. One thing I hate is when people will just mix Phillips and flathead screws in the same set, so I'm definitely not going to do that. But, well, all right, we'll do 2 short ones, 2 long. That's my final offer. At least they match. Okay. So now, I need to find a good pilot hole if these are too big or something. I think they're okay. I think we're all right on this size here. Let me get drill bit for this. Okay. Drill down into the wood here. Okay. Okay, and I think we'll do two short ones in front and the 2 long ones in front and 2 short ones in back. Now I have that prepped. we're going to drill into this, and I want to drill that's use the shanks here. Or bigger. I don't want it to grab the bottom piece, I just want it to grab what it screws into so that it'll clamp it tight. Okay. So we're going to drill this guy. I'm just going to freehand it up like this. I'm just going to bevel that a little bit. I need to countersink it on the bottom for the screws to go into. So I'm going to go get a countersink. It's big enough for that. I think this will do it. No. This is more it. I wish I had something in between. Yeah. Don't have anything in between, so we'll just countersink it with this. Got this chuck wrong. It's not meant really to chuck, I don't think. It's meant to go in a different type of chuck. But we'll make do. It's wobbly a little bit, but that's okay. 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 Now those screws will go in there. But we want our raviolis in the right spot. Which, where is the right spot, right? Let's find out where these screw holes line up best. It's that way or this way. Looks to be this way, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I'm just going to check that. I'm going to go ahead and run the screws in with some screw wax. Where do we stick our screw wax? Okay, we're going to do 2 short ones in back. And the 2 long ones in front. There he is. There's his hole. Be nice to have a drill bit for this. To grab one. Okay. Here we go. How's our battery doing and stuff work? You know what, this drill bit's not going to work very well.
Not 80%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay. I can black the countersunk area later, but right now I just want to get these in there so we can set our settings. Okay. That one's too skinny for my drill bit. is crazy exciting. Do I need to go in deeper? I thought I got my hole deep enough. Maybe I didn't right there. Find out here in a moment. Or did I just not put screw wax on this one? Do you remember?
Pretty sure you did.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay. I did. But we'll just take these out then. So we need that hole a little deeper perhaps. There's my pilot. Put this one in first. There's all these things that add up that you have to do rebuilding a piano, and it can be different for each one. It's like, all right, you know, and at first that was really a problem for me, but after a while you amass a lot of different tools. You've seen a lot more things, so you come up with strategies of dealing with stuff, and it's not so bad. I mean, it would be, I also, though, try and do the same kind of piano mostly, right, all the time. That helps a lot, even though you get different versions of it from the different eras. Didn't like that sound. I'm going to drill a bigger pilot. It's too tight. This screw maybe was a little fatter than the others. Okay. Let me go find the right bit then. One of the things I noticed is the threads are not as sharp on that one, but it is maybe a gauge, the inner diameter of it's maybe a gauge fatter than the other one, so. Any heckles from the tape? Right. Come on, screw. Let's just run it in first here. One nice thing is each time you run it in and out, it gets easier. That's what you want. Oh, I know what my issue is. That's what it is. Sorry, you know, this shank that's bare, that's not threaded. It's wider, right? And it's not as the others are a good width, an appropriate width for the thickness of the board that we're screwing through. This one's not the appropriate thickness. I should have seen that. I need to just drill down a little bit with a bigger bit, big enough for that collar. Now, if you've ever drilled a bigger hole into a smaller one, you know that the tendency is for it to grab and go too far. I'm going to run it in reverse. Now that should do it. I think we've reached the true issue there. Still plenty of bite. There's still plenty of the hole that's the right size for the threads to bite into. I'll just impale myself there. There we go. That was it. It was binding up on that guy. Okay. piece here. Put that one in. This guy. This one. Now that we've cut threads, now we're in business. I think that'll fit a little better now too. I try and avoid doing that what I just did. But anyway. Probably set the torque on this. Okay. Okay, they're all in. We can black the bottoms of that later, they'll disappear. But it's looking really good. That new piece. Right, comes out here a little bit. It looks nice. So now, what we want to do is mark where those raviolis are going to go. I'm going to get my awl. My scratch awl here. And the raviolis go underneath the backs of the pedals. So they rest on the raviolis until you push them, and then they go above it, okay? So I'm just going to scratch a center dot here. And these don't have to be exactly in position, like, you know, it's not that bad of a deal, but now I know where they go. It doesn't bother me that I have to run these screws out again. Yes, I could have just held that there and done that, you know, lined it up, but I don't mind running these in and out a bit because I want them to be really operational that way. Okay. And Mark, if you want, you could tripod that up, unless you have to run, and pull other rods like this, if that interests you. Marks for my ravioli. Just going to use the old tacks and put them in, basically. Might clean them off a little bit with sandpaper, but I think they're pretty good. Yeah, you can just take those and kind of copy that where it goes there.
And you just dip all right.
Yeah, that and then this to follow. And then just wipe it off. Alright, I'm just going to sand this ravioli off a little bit, make sure there's nothing hard on there, any polyester or whatever. I don't care how it looks, it's not going to be in view. It's a sound absorber and a firm foundation for the pedal, okay? So I just want to make sure it's doing its job like that, okay? I'm going to go ahead and tack it in. Right over those areas. And hope my board doesn't split. Alright, let's see if I can do this. Okay, that's pretty good. Next victim. Same thing. Not going anywhere. Last one was the best one, of course, after a little practice. So, okay, let's put this on. Make sure it goes in. And we have a slight issue.
Sorry.
Whoa. Have a slight issue with one of these tacks in the way at the side. There we go. Got it the right way. Despite my best efforts, you have to line them a little differently, I guess. Struggling on this one. There we go. That got it. Now we'll run our screws in. I'm just realizing this one screw that I kind of had to make a special exception for, whichever one it was. I should have drilled both that same way. Anyway, I'll just make sure it goes in well still here. Finish that one off with a screwdriver. Oh, it's plenty tight. No wonder the torque was set so high anyway, because I was on like drill mode. Okay. But anyway, we've got that bushed. Got the raviolis in place. I just want to check the tightness of the pedals here. I'm going to put these on a cloth so they don't get scratched. Can you hand me that cloth that you're using real quick?
Yeah.
Just for a sec. I just want to make sure these pedals are tight enough, but not too tight. After they're rebushed, they might need a retightening after a little bit of mileage, you know how that goes. But in general, they do have to be quite tight. Okay, this is the right pedal on my left, go figure. I'm going to check it, I'm going to tighten that a lot because it's used quite a lot. And then the left pedal has to be pretty tight. The middle pedal does not need to be that tight, okay? Or it won't return well. So I'm going to check that. The middle pedal's free but not wiggly. This one's free, maybe a little too free. See if I can tighten those anymore. You know, an impact driver might be a good thing on here, but I don't have a good one. A good setup for that. You know, that's as tight as I'm going to get it. So I'm going to go with that. Which is fine. They're not wiggly side to side, so I'm happy with that. Okay, pedals insert there. And of course, we need rubber booties on the bottom of the pedal rods to go in the backs of here. So I'll grab those out in a moment. But it does help. I mean, I have put in dampers before without the Lyre installed. It's possible, but it's harder. It's a lot faster with the Lyre in. Okay. What am I missing here? My final screw. Here he is. If this Lyre were a satin finish, I would be in a much more contained environment with more protective padding. The polyester's a little harder, a little more forgiving. Okay.
Can I borrow that cloth?
Yeah, just, you know what? There's another one on the table. I mean, I'm just about done with this one, but not to hold you up.
I'm probably gonna need to fix one of these that I did.
Oh, why?
It just looks awful.
Oh, it just doesn't look good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was scheming with this. Well, maybe I just need to go over it again.
Mm-hmm. When you're polishing a round thing on that wheel, it's kind of, you have to do real light pressure and you have to kind of do real even pressure because it can actually bite into the metal and change the shape of it really quick. That looks like what's happened.
Yeah, I kind of botched it.
Yeah. You know, it's not going to be too visible. It's not going to be a big deal here.
The other one I think I did just right on it.
Was that your first one or your second?
Second one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So after the practice, it helped?
Yeah.
Sometimes I make more mistakes on my second try than my first. So I get cocky. Anyway, see how soft that is? Boom, boom. Nice and rubbery on those raviolis. They work great. Lyre's looking good. We're just going to touch up the polishing on this rod, I guess.
Yeah, I messed up with that.
It's just got, like, it's just
I
riveted.
think I forgot to go on, like, the side.
Uh-huh.
And I went straight on. I think that's part of it. I don't know.
And I'm not putting much pressure at all with this. And going side to side helps make it even. I'm just going to smooth it out a bit. The main thing that I care about is just that it goes through the hole well.
Yeah.
Good enough. We'll wipe
Well,
it.
better than what I did.
Does it?
Yeah.
It's just in your head. Okay, now these are numbered 1, 2, 3. So we will put them in like that.
That's
One,
not the most important one.
number 1, 2, 3. Well, you know that one's a lot tighter in the hole. Our hole might have ended up a little smaller on that one for whatever reason, but it'll work out. Now look, we can't just have this clanking and rattling back here, right? So we're gonna grab a rubber booty. And we need a little leather disc. It helps these not wear out or cut through the rubber. The leather disc takes a lot of the impact of it. And then we need one of these rubber booties. And I'm just gonna push them right in the top of the hole like that. This is the easiest way to get this to the bottom of the hole. Just get it right at the top and let the rod do the work, pushing it down. So just like that, then I'm just gonna stick that on the rod and run it down. Make sure that's down firm. Same thing with these. Okay. These are actual genuine Steinway rubber booties. So I actually ordered them from Steinway, so not too expensive either. So anyway, pedals, nice smooth operation. That one not as smooth. It's just the size of our hole there ended up tighter on that one. I can fix that. Let's just fix that real quick while we're thinking about it. There went my rubber booty. My goodness. Told you those were really tight. When you do something live streaming, it takes guts. People see all the mistakes, right? And it was the left pedal here on your right. Right? So we're not going to reuse this bushing. We'll put a new piece in there. I'm just going to ream this hole out a little bigger.
Do you sell the genuine Steinway rubber booties?
Sure, why not? Not that there aren't other options, but if you get them from me, I'll probably have to mark them up, obviously. Oh, we're not supposed to tell people that. Just kidding. Just gonna ream it out a little more. Hourglass. There, felt fell down. I saw some felt fall down there. We'll go get a new piece of bushing. And still have a little extra, just right for what we need. Okay then. Still tight. Still plenty tight. So I'm comfortable with this. And a little snip, which can mean a few different things depending on the context. Okay, then there's that. This time I'm going to put screw wax on this screw because it's so tight. This dumb zinc screw. I like the old steel screws. They're so much better. They work so much better, I feel like. So I just like to, on this one, a lot of times the hole's tight enough to grab the screw on this piece, but I just get a little bit of a point out there, as we do, right? And then get it started on one side. I can tell you want to say something, Mark.
Do I?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that energy was in the room. I just seemed like you did. So here I thought I was going to be way further along on my dampers. Turns out the Lyre wasn't ready.
We haven't learned the other side of sound yet.
Nope, we haven't. This is still... Well, this is all part of the other side of sound, right? The pedals. Got to have the pedals to operate the dampers. No way around that. Now that is plenty firm. I can't get that any tighter. Okay. 3. Wait, 3. I want number 1. 1.
1 is the ugly one.
It's just the way you feel because you did it, but you don't have to feel that way. You won't even notice.
I can see
when you
it.
play the piano, you'll forget. You'll forget all the pain.
When I play, I'll think that damper pedal rod is awful.
There. That's more like it. There's felt in there. I don't want these crazy tight. I mean, that's just shooting yourself in the foot. You're just asking for a squeak down the road. So, there. Just nice, smooth operation, but not wobbly at all. Now we can install the Lyre. Here's our Lyre supports. All nice and, oh, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I gotta get under here. Now, you don't really need this thing under here. Okay. So the way to do this, one of the easiest ways is just to drop the pedal, take the pedal out of the, usually I take the booty with it, take the pedal, these grab at the booty a little bit, just disengage them down here at the bottom. Hopefully they won't get in your way that way. And they're just, that way they'll be out of the way of these things here. That is the most technical term I can come up with there, those things. And then we're gonna just stick the Lyre supports here. I don't know, right now I don't know that one is better than another for any reason. Okay. I might discover that down the road, but okay, let's do this. And go like this. Okay, now I'm gonna first get my Lyre supports up at the top in there. Okay. I'm gonna put those in those holes up there, and then I'm gonna push these out of my way as I get into the lock plate. There. Now I'm in the lock plate. Lyre supports are in. Then this guy is going to put him in the rest of the way. See that? And if all goes to plan, I'm going to hit this in. But now our Lyre supports are plenty tight. And everything will line up. I'll go ahead and put my pedals back in. This one worked out well. Sometimes you have to monkey with the Lyre supports to get them to actually be supporting. Don't put them in not supporting. Just get them supported. All the pedals operational here. Oh look, we're lifting the damper tray. Look at that. You can hear the parts moving through the pitman here that Landon provided for us. I'm just going to get a hammer and hit that in a little further. And then we're ready to rock and roll. Okay. Just hit that straight if possible. There we go. That is not going anywhere. Not that it's not like a leg, right? It's not like the piano's gonna fall over. But there's where it needs to be. Ta-da! We have a Lyre. And the bottom piece looks good. It almost looks straight. Okay. Alright. Phew. Now I did all that
to get started.
Just so I can push the pedal and push the action all the way back without it hitting the tray, hitting the underleaders. There's easier ways to accomplish that, but we needed this done anyway, right? With the pedals. Okay, so here's one side of sound. We don't have the other side. It's very hard to play music, right? You get the idea. Okay. So now we're going to check the lift on these here. Oh, how did that come out? I didn't tighten the screw on that one. That's what happened. Okay, let me tighten the screw on that and we'll start over. Put my tools away. So I do need to pull the action for that. Nicely regulated action, I might add. Which is very heavy and soon to get heavier if we add more lead. Which we probably will. Now I think on these dampers I can use the tool that's going to speed me up. And it is around here somewhere. Probably fell down lower here. Don't even tell me that it's not here. So I'm looking for a combo handle tool. Maybe it's out already. You know the one I'm thinking of, Mark? Telepathically.
No.
It's a long tool. And it goes on the combo handle to fit on the dampers. I must already have it out. If you sense that I'm in a rush, you're probably like, just slow down, man. I'm just trying to. Mark's hours are limited, and he's doing us a favor, so I want to make sure to get as much done as I can before he has to go. Of course, it's the last place you look. Isn't that funny? Always the last place. I'm laughing at my own jokes. Okay. So it's this tool. It houses the screwdriver in there. You see that? And it's got this surrounding edge so that it's easy to just go in there and find your way. Now, it doesn't always fit on every piano. And you can't force it either, because if you do, it might damage the screw, and then it's even harder to regulate the dampers, as you saw on that last piano that we did, that Model A, which, by the way, I was going to post the customer's comments because she was just like, I can't stop playing, it's so great. Now, it didn't land that way. It landed in a room, and she was kind of, because we didn't tune it right before it went out, and it was pretty out of tune. And then also the voicing was quite strong for the space it went into. It went in kind of a smaller music room with a low ceiling. The sound was just coming right, and that soundboard was so effective on that piano. It was just coming right back, right? Huge wash of sound, a little strong. So she wasn't sure about that, but she's like, I don't know. But I could tell it was way too much for that space, because in our shop, if we don't voice it big, it doesn't sound good in the shop. It feels like it's going to be underpowered. But I would rather send it out overpowered just a little bit and then rein it in. So anyway, so that was an issue. And then the lowest A was sticking down. The key was sticking down. You know, that's like, if you want a customer to have a bad taste in their mouth, send out a piano and have a key stick down, right? We had spaced out the key slip, and then we put a leather gap spacer in there just to make it less ugly. We couldn't see down the screw. And I didn't trim that leather short enough, so it was like, you couldn't tell from the top, but it was hitting the key. So that was an easy fix, though. But it was funny, because when she went to go to show me, she's like, it worked. You know, she's like, I swear, every time I played it, it was sticking before. I was like, don't worry, I know. Anyway, went through those things. So I tuned it up, voiced it down, fixed that thing. Oh, and we had overlooked to touch the regulation after we moved the hammers in that one section forward. I didn't re-regulate the checking. So she didn't notice anything weird, but it was checking way, way low. So it didn't feel good. And as good as it can anyway. So I fixed that checking. And then after that, I was the same way. She was gone. I was playing. And I just couldn't stop playing it because it was really enjoyable to play. And then she texted, I texted her later. I said, how's it now? She said, wow, that's great. So I was glad I was able to have that follow-up. But anyway, it happens. Sometimes it's kind of a work in progress, in all truth. So I'm going to tighten this up. Okay, you want to make sure that's down onto the tray, and I'm just going to put the tool on. Yeah. I can tighten this to a certain degree, but I can't tighten it all the way with this tool. At least not on that screw. So we might be destined to use this again. But it's still not as bad as some things. I'm going to loosen that back down, make sure it's down there on the tray. Put a little bit of pressure on, not too much. There, now it's tight. Now we can set the timing. Okay, Any comments or questions on the chat? I haven't been doing my usual.
Is Brigham Larson Pianos your arch nemesis?
No, Brigham's a friend, and he actually kind of occupies a different niche than we do here, as far as what they focus on and the pianos that they're rebuilding and turning around. So we really don't have a lot of the same customers for the most part. Sometimes it crosses over. There was one instance, a friend of mine said, "Hey, I got a job for you. We need to restring this Boston piano." And our names, Brigham and Hiram, everyone always mixes those up. Okay, they all sound like Mormon pioneer names around here to people, and so they're confused. Anyway, so I was waiting for this Boston to show up for us to restring it, and I asked the movers. I said, "Have you seen this Boston? Where's this Boston Grand that's coming?" They said, "I don't know. I hope it's not the same Boston that we sent to Brigham's." I said, no, probably not. Anyway, it turns out it was. The customer got confused. He heard my name. He was supposed to come here. Ended up going there, which is fine. I didn't pursue it. But so we do cross paths, but we're friends, and yeah, I like, I get, if there's any good tips from anybody, I like to absorb it all. And same thing, I like to share anything that's useful to people. So. My arch nemesis is my own brain. Okay. All right, now, because we have the Lyre in, I can push the pedal down. Because right now, all those under levers are just hanging down off the wires. Okay, they're just loose and they're too low. They'll run into the backs of the keys. But if I push the pedal, I have to push the pedal to get them out of the way. Then I can push the action all the way back without issue. So who commented? Who wanted to know if I was, if Brigham and I were?
Paul B.
Paul B. I'll remember that, Paul B. Okay. All right. So I look at the timing here now. So if we had two cameras, we do this. But see if you can show. Okay, so I'm pushing the key down, the hammer goes this far, and then this hammer starts to raise. That's too late for me, okay? What am I going to do about that? We'll find out. Let's see what this one does. This one, I start to push it, it lifts. It's too early. It's lifting unevenly on the tray. So I need to level out this tray. I need to make it basically so that the tray on this end is propped up a little higher, okay, so that they can lift evenly. And when I do that, this one that's now late will remain, well, let's just do it and see what we end up with, okay. The fact that it's late is weird to me. You know what, it's not late, it's right on time right here. Because the back is lifting before the front. And the back lifts right there, right then. So it's just fine. It's just fine. But watch, if I bend that, now it's the front. Now it's both. There. There, that's better. Okay, now the hammer is about halfway to the string and it lifts. You see that? Are you concur with that, Mark? Mm-hmm. Or am I making it up just because I want it to be that way? Nope, it's that way. It's good. So we're gonna level out the tray. Sometimes you have to do this, sometimes you don't. You just gotta check that. But what would happen if I just tried to regulate the dampers? I mean, those were really uneven in their timing, right? It was like, this was way early. You'd end up with just a weirdness, okay? It doesn't bother me so much with the touch, although it does affect the touch, but it would bother me with the pedal and the timing of the dampers. Okay. Am I thinking right on that? But anyway. So I'm gonna loosen this just so it doesn't get damaged. No, I'm gonna leave it. No, I'm gonna loosen it. I'll loosen them both. And then the base is like a fixed point. We're gonna consider it that way. And I need to get my black screwdriver. And I'm going to take this block out. Now, I want to observe here. The block, now remember, this was lifting early or late, Mark? Early, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was lifting early because the key was coming in contact with this sooner. And like I was saying, we need to prop this up so it comes in contact a little later. But we need to prop it up where its anchor point is, which is this block, okay? So right now this block fits perfectly in that gap. Some don't, some do. It doesn't matter. So I've got to sand off the top of the block a bit and then put shims on the bottom. So we're essentially just translating that hole up. Alright, so I'm just going to pull this block off here. Alright. And so I'm going to remove some material off the top, which is at an angle. I want to preserve that angle because it's meant to go in there just right. And then I'm going to shim up the bottom. So I'm going to make a mark how far I want to go with that.
I'll be back in a second.
What's up?
I'll be back in a second.
How's the battery? Good?
Yeah, you're fine.
Here, can you just put me up high and look down on this?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thanks. All right, I just made two little carrots right there. And I'm going to sand almost to the point where they disappear, but not quite. Okay. And if I were to give a dimension to you of how big that is. I'm basically going to take off 1 millimeter, okay? I'll take off 1 millimeter. So I'm going to just put this over to the sander over there. I'm not going to take you close up. I'll just sand this down and come right back. Okay, I can see let's see here. I can see the little pencil marks just a little bit still where they were. See that? Then I'm gonna just round off the corners off of this. Make sure that doesn't hold it up from going inside. Now, whatever I took off the bottom or the top, I now have room to add to the bottom to the height that I want. I'm gonna go turn off that dust collector. So I'm gonna go get some business card here. Or I might use veneer. Do that. If I have a piece of veneer that's makes sense to use, I'll use it. That's about what I took off. Let's see if it's too thick though. See if it'll still go in there. And it will. Almost, but not quite. So that veneer's too thick. If I have something thinner, I'll use it. I'm just going to use business card. I think that's what we need. Okay, so we will, I think I'll do 2 of these strips. Make another one. That one was kind of wimpy. There, I like that. Actually, it's kind of the same, but it'll work. Okay, just trim that off. I think I need, let me see if this fits okay in there. It does. So I think I could go four pieces of business card is what I think we're gonna want. Cut this one in half. And shorten it. That is just snug, looks like, just about. Before I do any gluing, I'm gonna dry fit here. Okay. So I'll screw it in. That's tight. Let's get the action and see how it lifts now. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Un momenti. All right, pedal down, push it in. You know what? I'm not going to learn anything from this because I didn't put the damper in and tighten it again. I have to do that. So let's do that. So now I would expect this side to lift later than it was. And this side probably a little later also than what it was, or the same. I'm actually kind of hoping for the same in this case. If it's later, I don't have a fix for that on the base. But I tell you what, one thing that happens to dampers as they start to wear in, what can happen is the timing becomes earlier and earlier as it wears in. As the felt squishes on top, compresses, the damper drops lower. The damper lever drops lower, so it's closer to the P. Sometimes it drastically does it, and you have to kind of reset the damper timing soon after it's new. Otherwise, you might have a really heavy filling piano because it's picking up the damper right away. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, that is right where I want it. And this is a little earlier, wouldn't you know it? So, or about the same. You want to check it out? There's a way to get really precise with it, but I'm not going to do it today. You can make a little mini dip block with wings, and when the wings touch the neighbor keys, but this is where this is lifting right there. I can feel it coming in contact right there. Okay, let's check the other side. And Mark, you're looking from the right view, so you're going to tell me it's
Should I stay on
consistent.
this side?
Yeah, just stay on this side if you
Except
can.
they lift at the same time.
Oh, maybe get. Can you not see the hammer?
I can actually.
Oh, okay. So right there. Yeah, we're just seeing that they lift at the same time. This one's maybe like, if I have to be totally honest, I guess I have to. Maybe a tiny bit earlier.
Like
No?
on the front?
Anywhere. Just it's when the key contacts that under lever and I start to push the damper up. But you know what? It's even. It's even enough for what I do. For anyone actually. No, it's even. So now we have the tray set exactly where we want it. Which is kind of interesting because I haven't propped the tray up at all. Anyway, what I'm saying with that is I'm gonna have to drop the tray a little lower than what it now can currently go. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Or that adjust nut on the pedal rod. If there's room to run it down, I'll have to run it down a little bit. But actually, no, I think something, I'll show you what's going on. But at any rate, the tray is being supported right now at the level where we want it. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything until we get all the dampers screwed in. Right now, the tray is resting on the pitman firmly. So that's just perfect. So after I screw these in, the level I want to drop the tray a little bit. I can do that just by shortening the pitman or changing the pedal rod. Okay, I'm going to stick all the dampers in the holes.
Do you want me to start from this side?
Sure.
I can put it on here.
Mm-hmm. Smart move, smart move.
Does it need to like go into something specific or just through the hole?
Just through the hole for now. That's a good starting place. And then, yeah, just through the hole to start. 'Cause then we have to thread it through the other hole down below.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of 4 minutes and 33 seconds. But for that, does the musician of the instructions to push the pedal down
The instructions
or
are
just to lift the lid?
Just, I think they have a stopwatch because there's 3
Yeah.
movements.
Right.
I think that's it.
So they don't push the pedal, right?
No, I don't think so.
That would have been even cooler.
Well, the idea is what everybody else does. So if you're at a performance of 433, you should start screaming and saying, wow.
Yeah, but
please."
you don't need a piano otherwise. You can do it with a piccolo
It's,
or a kazoo.
it's more interesting if it's a piano
Yeah, why?
because nobody likes the piccolo.
And well, that's not true, Mark.
Everybody
You
says it just
offended-
sounds like
you just offended
screeching.
all the piccolo
All 5 of them.
enthusiasts. in the world who watch this channel.
This is Salt Lake Piano Service, not Salt Lake Piccolo Service.
There's a lot of crossover. You'd be surprised.
Have you seen the recorder channels? There's
No.
people who play like
Professional recorder.
like
I like
13 different types of recorders, different sizes.
All right, one of us here is gonna have to just give
I
up.
can't even see, so I'll give up.
Just give up now. 'Cause- Okay. All right. Now we're gonna go below and stick those in below. Do you want to just adjust that? And you can
Yeah.
come on your stool.
There we go. Perfect.
And while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to loosen the screws on my samples, just so that they all get a similar tightening. For this last one. And if I do things well and things go my way, this will be the last tightening I ever have to do, a wholesale of it. Of course, individual dampers I'll take out and put in a lot, but you know. Actually, I have a feeling that these are just gonna really fall into place for us today. It's just that kind of day. For this, you're supposed to go the same direction, Mark. Right?
Giving
So we
the
don't run
people
into each other.
a better view.
Oh, the
And now
middle.
when
I see.
we catch up, I'll just stop.
Okay.
Make you do all the work.
Just trying to make me look good.
I mean, it's not too late. I could just start over here.
That's this morning when we were comparing the machine tuning to the RO tuning, and Mark says, "Oh, I like the RO one better." I'm like, "Yeah, he's just saying that because he works for me."
I'll never admit machine does better.
You know, I have to block the view. I think it's time.
This is kind of tedious.
This?
Yeah.
This is not tedious.
The next part is tedious.
The next one is very tedious. All right. Well, Mark's continuing to screw those in. I had my sample, I bent it so that the back didn't lift before the front, and so I could tell the difference between that one and all the others, so I'm just kind of bending some of them so that it'll work out. Now, with the ones that have wedges, I want those wedges to sit in the strings right now before I tighten, because that changes the height effectively if they're not sitting like that.
So you're pushing them all the way down.
Yeah, just gently helping them find their way where there's a wedge. Where there's a wedge, there's a way. Except there's no wedge up there. So, all right. Or do you want to man that camera?
Yeah.
Okay. Show me seating these in. And the flats on these are too high at first for the wedges to even like bite into this note at all. So we're going to be changing the front to black tilt for sure on that. But anyway, that's why most of the timing touch-up will happen in this middle area in the base, because the wedges, they just ruin everything. Okay, and some of them I can't even get onto the strings very well yet because the heads aren't aligned yet, but we just do the best we can, at least for this initial tightening. I'm just kind of forcing them there. And these we'll just make sure they're just kind of straight, but we can do that as we tighten. So we'll go ahead and tightening. And you might want to go from the top and the bottom. I'm going to straighten the damper where I think it needs to be. And I'm going to tap down the under lever. Make sure it's up against the, down against the tray before I tighten, okay? Why is that tight? It shouldn't be tight under that one's misaligned a little bit. We'll deal with that later. Just so long though as it's touching the tray. Okay. Gonna loosen this one and retighten. This one was my sample.
Do you want them to see the top, like
Both,
dampers?
just both. Just go back and forth. Yeah, because
I could move this now, right?
yeah.
It's
Hopefully
just
we don't have to use it again.
in the way. Get a better angle here, maybe.
All right. I don't want to totally give up on my other tool. I might be able to still use it here. Ah, darn, can't. I can't. It doesn't bite into the screw well enough. I'll look forward to putting in a new back action in the next few pianos that we're going to do, or next couple, because there'll be new parts. I can maybe use my faster tool for this. Of course, and we also have to bend wires from scratch, pound them into the heads, bend them, do all that. So that'll be kind of different from other stuff we've shown. It's a little extra work, but not too bad. You can see the slot on that one. What's the deal with that? So shallow. Now, some people pre-tighten just loosely. I don't. I snug it all the way. But these dampers, these parts, I can tell I don't have to really tighten to get it to hold still. You know, so just be sensitive to that. You don't want to totally mar the wire where the screw grabs it and touches it. These are good. I can't turn them with my hand like I could that old A that we did. So here we go. The D is a little bit harder to look into. I have to stand up. Okay. I put a little bit of pressure down from the top, but not too much. If I put too much, then they're going to lift a lot later than what I was looking at, right? I'm just putting enough so that it doesn't come out of the strings while I tighten if I accidentally hit it. Okay, that's interesting. Looking through the strings intently. If I got a light source down there, it might be a little less headache. Anyway. Maybe I'll turn on a light. Now that I'm out of the worst part. Not worried that these twist when I tighten. We will fix that in short order. Okay. Sit down again. I like this pipe insulation. I can just kind of rest my head on it. It's more comfortable. It's all right. Okay. Keep tightening this. It feels like this step takes a long time, but here I'm taking like a few seconds per damper, and then you figure all the time I'm going to take as I start to align them and do all that. I'm like, yeah, that's a lot longer, but it doesn't feel as long because you're not doing the same thing over and over. I get, well, you are, but I don't know why.
More specified work.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's like I sense someone's watching and it's like, well, this is just doing the same thing. Let's fast forward to the good parts. Alright. One more section to go here. You want to try and not push back too hard. Like you don't want to push back at all if you can help it. You know, you have to a little bit just to tighten the screw sometimes. But because if you do that, it kind of bends the wire, angles the head differently. That one's pushed back. That one I had to push back because it couldn't get it tight otherwise. These parts are in really good shape. Okay. I'm just going to do just a quick check before we get too deep into it. of the damper timing one more time with the action, and then I'll just work on the dampers. It'll be a little different because the heads might not seat down into the strings the way they ought. So I'm not going to pay attention in the middle so much as the ends. I'm not going to check every note or anything. Well, I think I just broke a hammer there. Let's see. No, just nearly broke a hammer there. Which we could repair. I didn't have to push the pedal that time because they're all held by the wires in place. Okay, so still don't have the other side of sound yet. Okay, I'm just looking real quick through the strings at when the dampers lift with the key, and it's just perfect. I just couldn't ask for more. Halfway up to the string, a third of the way down the keystroke, and it's even across the whole thing. Okay, now we're gonna start making these dampers work. All right. And Mark, if I get talking too much, just tell me to get to work.
Just stop talking.
Yeah, just tell me to stop talking. Yeah, I'm just gonna get the tools out and go to it. If anyone has any questions about what I'm doing, just ask them in the chat and we'll kind of yell out the answers as we go. That's all I want for now. That's a tool I wish I could use. All right, now at this point, I'm going to drop the tray down a little bit, and I'm going to do it with the pedal adjust rod because we initially set those damper underlevers so that they'd be at the right height. We were using the tray, right? So they were resting on the tray. But we don't want them resting on the tray to function. We want the tray 2 millimeters or so below them. Okay. We want it definitely below them so that the dampers can sink in the strings well. This is not our final damper adjustment, but this is just so I can set them well. In fact, there might be a little bit more space between the tray and the damper lever so I can feel that bump when it comes in contact with the underlever. So under that, down there. There, now it's going to expose kind of all the weirdness. So I'm just going to start getting them working right and aligned right. I'm just going to cruise at the pace I might normally. And Mark, you're going to want to get up, you're going to want to get down. Just wherever, as you are curious about what is being changed. Number 2. Not going to worry about perfect timing this first pass. This is just getting them aligned. And I can time them differently as I need to. Which I had a feeling these would kind of behave pretty good. So far they're behaving really good.
Why do you use that blue handle tool?
I'm grabbing the wire and twisting it in the top flange so the screw stays tight, but you see when it twists like this off the string?
Yeah.
I'm correcting that so that it goes straight, see?
Yeah.
This head is tilted different, is it not? Fix that tilt. This head is tilted different. Fix that tilt. If I lift individual ones, I can see where they're not spaced quite right. They're lifting off to the right or to the left of the string, so I need to move the head over one way or another. So they'll lift directly off the string straight. I don't want any twist in it, so that the felt comes in full contact along the whole damper. Perfect, right there, just about. Okay, this one's twisted. So these are great. These blue-handled pliers are amazing because I can grab it so tight. Okay, see that head's tilted? I'm just going to support the wire and bend the head against the tool. Now, though, it's shifting off to the right. I need to space the head over. Okay, okay. Come on, I went a little bit far on that one. A little far. This is compared to the last set. Oh, that was a nightmare. That last piano. But you start to see these shape up like ducks in a row as we go through the different adjustments. Basically, we're bending the wire in different spots, right? Twisting it. And the different bends align things. Space this over and then do the twist. Do the twist. See that? Damper twist. Alright, not too far over. Fine. So you can't really tell if it's jumping off to the left or right. In other words, if the head is off center. It's harder to tell until you get rid of the twist first. Get rid of that twist, then you can tell. It's just a little bit of a twist there. You might catch on to the order of how I'm doing things, watching one after another. But do ask, Mark, yeah, if you ask questions, that's probably a good thing here because you're seeing the different tools I'm grabbing and stuff.
So basically, the longer tool you use to push against the top of the damper.
The hook.
And the hook.
So the damper hook here, I'm bending it. That's spacing the head. And then I'm also bracing it to change the tilt of the head. Because when you bend the lower bend, it makes the tilt lean over and you have the head lean over and you have to compensate for that. And lean it the right way, like this one's leaning to the right. And then prop it up a little bit. Be cool to have two cameras on this, but live that's a little difficult. A lot can be exposed by just with your finger on an individual damper, really, really slowly starting to lift it. And you'll see where it's off. So the different adjustments we're doing, the tilt front to back, so that both wedges are seated on the strings, and maybe the back one lifts just a tiny bit before the front on the Steinway here, the way we're setting it. And then there's the twist. And then there's the head spacing. That's pretty much it. You just go around in a circle with those, because make a change to one and it can affect the other. That's not the only thing. I mean, if there's another thing, if the bends in the wire down between the damper and where it attaches down below aren't parallel and such, you can get the hammer like veering off to the left or right, traveling off to the left or right a little bit, and that needs to be corrected with bends. But for the most part, on these pianos that we're redoing, it's not an issue. Notice these sit a lot higher initially. These wedges on the notes with 3 strings, they don't plunge quite as deep. There's not really anything like that. This one anyway, there's not really anything I can do about it. Those 3 strings are so close together. Well, that's not true. I can squeeze the damper felts a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it at this point. Let's put it that way. First priority is just that it works really great. Let's see if I can get away with a little more twist on this one. That's on the back of there, okay. A little twist. Oops, turn the wrong one. Turn the wrong one twice. This one is kind of special. The tilt's off on it, but it has an extra bend, extra long bend, to be able to clear this plate strut and go this way, you see. So to change the tilt, I gotta take this one out and I gotta tilt it down this way. Just bend it like that and see if it's kind of like a trial and error on that one if you get it right, because you have to stick it back in and see. Still tilting a little bit this way, so I'm just gonna grab this and bend the head That way a little more. This is just kind of like the basic part of the damper regulation. You can get, from there it's kind of just troubleshooting. But usually when the basics are right, most everything's right. It works well and all that. Okay, that's not bad. So that makes a bit of noise. It's not hitting the plate. But do you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't bush the guide rail, the damper guide rail. More often than not, I don't rebush it, but sometimes that felt in there gets crusty. So I'm gonna go in with a little screwdriver and just rough it up. A bigger screwdriver than that. So I'll take something like this one, stick it down the hole and just kind of, like I said, rough up that felt, take off any salt, because dust gets down there and things, and sometimes it just gets crusty over time. Let's see if that quieted it down at all. So now anytime I re-screw ahead, and I have to push the pedal a little bit so that it's timed the same as the rest of the dampers. Yeah, it's much quieter now. There we go, I like that. Okay, now all we're seeing is just differences in timing. Some left early, some left late. While I'm sitting here in this position, I might as well address that with them. Oops. I'm just going to catch the really early ones that are clearly early. Like I'm looking at the rest of the piano down the line here too, because I don't want to make them all too late. This one's clearly early. And anytime I untwist that and retighten it, it's going to mess up the twist, and I have to fix the twist. But now that one's timed a little better. Can you hit it out?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to put it, stick it on the tripod or it's right there?
Yeah.
That's good.
That should be a good spot for it.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Okay.
Take care. We'll see ya. Yep. Really, these, I actually want to time the whole section kind of more where these are right now. So this one's now late right here. This one here. So I'm going to make him a little earlier by loosening the screw, retightening it while it's dropped to the tray, and then I see how early it is. Or not, it's not early. Still not early. Whoa, oh, I know why it's not early. It's because I have to get rid of the twist on it. Okay. There now, so now it's early a little bit. You see that? So I want to just do it, but not so much as I did before. Fix the twist. there. There, now it's much more even with the rest, right? You can see when they kind of lift, right? You can see some that are early or late, some that aren't moving. Okay. Okay, here's a question from Don Pryor. Do I use pre-cut damper felt or do you cut it from a strip? This comes pre-cut for Steinway sets, the sets that I order. So if I need to use a strip, I'll cut it from a strip. Okay, so now I'm going to find some that aren't moving with the others that are late and make them slightly earlier. Fix the twist on it. Late again. I did it again. Made it late somehow. Part of it is that it needs to be spaced over. Looks like. All right, let's try this again. Okay, it's a tiny bit early. I just need to see if I can fix it without messing it up again. There we go. Make the timing on number 1 a little bit later. You know what, maybe not so much, just a little bit. So I push the pedal a tiny bit, loosen the screw, push the damper head down, retighten. And that will plunge the wire into the hole a little deeper. Thus it'll make it lift a little bit later, okay? There's a group of 3 here that are just a little bit late. Went too far with that one. Okay. Okay. I'll show you from the top here in a second how it's looking. But you can see the timing really well from the bottom, actually. You know. Not sure how I botched that one again. It's too late now. No, I try this thing where I pry it up, grab it, and just pry it up. Yeah, I can never get that to work for me. I don't know why. Okay. Really close up here. To being kind of basically done with this section. See how the bass sounds? Okay. All right, we'll carry on. I'm going to put this on the tripod up top so you can watch from up top for a moment. Oh, I did this just the wrong way here. Let's flip this guy around. Let's see, have I ever worked on damper wires that had threads? Yes, and you hate it. And they don't damp very well when you're done. So what I've been doing lately, I'll just cut them off and put a whole new back action in. It's worth it to me to do that, just to avoid working on those. Those are very old pianos. You're talking Kanabis from late 1800s, so forth. Okay. All right, so we can get in here a little bit closer, and you can see where we're coming here. This is with the bass there. There's that one damper that sticks up higher because it's right there, because it's doesn't seat down the strings as well, but it's regulated still. It's adjusted. This will look a lot more straight than these so far, right? So now we're gonna work on this section. Okay. Just gonna go one at a time down the line. This one looks pretty darn good already, actually. These short ones, I let them lift. I might actually let it. I'm actually gonna go with that. Okay. What I was saying is I let the backs of the damper head lift higher, or lift first than the before the front. Quite a bit on these. It can help get rid of a nasty harmonic there. So it's kind of ironic. The longest string on the piano probably, and the shortest damper to stop it. You know, that's kind of problematic if you think about it, right? I'm just going to cruise through this section same way. Go through my cycle of adjustments. With Mark not there to watch the chat, I'll try and keep my eye on it every once in a while. Do put your questions. I will respond to them. you'll find that in a section you're doing very, very similar adjustments to the whole section. Okay. It's just more, I find that to be the case most often. You can also look really closely at the wedges on the front of these dampers that have a wedge, and you can just see, does it lift straight off this, right off the middle of the string, or does it twist, or does it veer off to one side? And that'll help you really kind of know what to do next in a lot of these situations. Basically, if I just make this kind of parallel to its neighbor, and then space it over, it's probably gonna do pretty well. And just make the tilt of the heads all, level with the horizons best you can, playing the strings. That'll look better, and it'll damp better. Carry on down the line here. Oops. Pulled that wrong way. All these under levers have no springs on them. They're just all weighted. It's been the convention at the time, and it's fine. I like it. It's a little more modern than that last piano I worked on, which was a pain. Now, once I get here, there's going to be a wedge damper in the front and a flat in the back, and that's why it's going to change. The heads are going to look different. They have to in order to make contact front and back with the string. So sometimes you can't tell it on these when the wedge is in front and the flat is on back. So tip it forward until definitely the back is raising sooner. Then you know, then you just adjust it just a little bit from there. Hey, we're getting pretty good on this. I should probably just, while I have the pliers in my hand, right, just twist all of these and then go back. That's probably what I should do, huh? Yeah, let's do that. And then I should probably also just go through and make all the front and back bends too. Let's work smarter, Hiram, right? Then I'll just space things over as needed. And that's a better way of going about it. Just keeping the same tool in your hand. Especially since I'm ending up doing kind of the same action over and over to same adjustments to most of these, right? Right. Okay. Let's see if there's any problems besides timing. Not really. It's pretty good. That was pretty fast, huh? While I'm sitting here, I'll take care of these really early ones. Okay, see that section's pretty darn good now. A few weird things here. I just see a spacing issue here. It's jumping off to the right. I'll space the head over just a little bit to the left. Okay. Like that, I think. Just tilt the heads uniformly. There we go. Okay, like I said, we'll work on timing later. Okay, I'm gonna pull you to the other side, and so that side's looking pretty good, huh? Check the chat here. All right, so that's it. Okay, I'm gonna do. Just show that, I guess. We'll start working on that section. Then we'll flip around to the back of them. You can see the back side while I work on it. This is weird. This one didn't even get tightened for some reason. That's the problem there. That's why it's not lifting at all. So we will tighten it. Skipped over one, I guess. Okay. So I'm going to twist things. New twisting. There we go. Not bad, not bad. It's getting done here. Curious, can I twist that with my hand? Oh, that one I can. That one's too loose. I have to tighten that tighter. Tighten them all a bit. Twisting currencies. All right. Twist again, like we did last summer. And now I'm gonna do the front to back tilt. Just down the line here. This one might be a little harder to do without aligning it first. I'm gonna do it anyway though. So after you kind of get a few samples in the place, you can kind of see where's this line, this height of them, the backs, and then you can kind of just match those up. And for the most part, that will work and get you really close to where you want to be. Not in every circumstance, but more often than not, for sure. Alright. One. It's hitting the wire is hitting the plate strut. So I'm just going to bend it in such a way as to lean the wire away from that plate strut. I'm going to flip you around to the back here. Okay, there's our set that we're working on there. Some need some progress there, right? Still. Okay, just a sec here. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not on that set. I'm on this set. Looking through the camera, it's a little tricky to tell what's going on. Okay. All right. That's where we are. Anyway. Okay, we're working on those two sections still. So you can see how these are all starting to line up pretty good. This one I need to bend over, and I know you can't see this damper from that angle. I apologize for that. It's unfortunate, but you know, that's hardly any clearance towards the plate strut there. Makes me wonder if the guide rail could have been positioned any differently, but I don't think so. So our plate might be slightly over from where it was. Let's try this here. There we go. Right now I'm shoving it a lot higher than it's going to go. If I have to, I'll add some type of a noise reducer there, but I don't think I'll have to. Okay. So I'm going to space things over correctly. Space things over a bit. good. Minimal. Tilt this different. Yeah, I like that. Now, it doesn't pay at this stage of the game, I find, to get too hung up on how well it's damping. Okay, don't be checking that or worrying about it at this point. Just get it aligned right with the string. Let it sit. Then move on to your string alignment, our string mating, which we're going to do, and yeah, and you'll find that a lot of things take care of themselves. Just going through the process. Okay. Like this section looked pretty bad, but really with not a lot of effort, it's getting in shape again, really easy. Okay. Of course, the timing's now way early, right? Because I'm getting it to seat much better into those strings, so it dropped everything lower than where it was initially for that tightening. So we will have to retime a little bit, but it's not too bad. And the more you get everything closer to being timed perfectly, the easier it is to time an individual damper to touch it up. Because you can feel, when you push the pedal, you can feel a big bump, resistance where it meets all the dampers. So the closer when I make these later, it'll help that. Okay. So just a little bit of a twist here. A little bit of a tweak, front to back. I'm going to fix the twist, or the tilt, the damper head. This one here needs to be fixed. Oh, that's too loose. I gotta tighten that one a little better. It's too loose. Don't like them too loose. I don't want them changing regulation from where I set them. I want it to be very stable. Let's move this better this way. That way as well. Okay. And I'm going to tilt this different. Tilt that different. And that. And that. Mostly tilted over to the left in a weird way. Okay, I'm gonna space these over. They're not wanting to seat down. Let's see if I need to cheat by twisting them a little different. Sometimes in this middle section where you have one wedge and one flat, the reason they're actually, the twist, it becomes the spacing, right? Because the flat, it doesn't matter where the flat sits, it only matters where the wedge sits, as far as if it's going to pull off to the left or right. So sometimes if you just fix the twist, then all of a sudden, voila, oh my, it's not jumping off to one way or another. This damper needs to be tightened on the end. There we go. Then retwist it. Tilt that a little different. And let's see what we have. This one doesn't want to behave quite the same as the others. It's also late. Let's see what it's doing here. It's not even getting on the strings the way it ought to. So this is one where I do need to make a correction there with the spacing on the head, because it can't be parallel to its neighbors the way it is currently. I can twist it, but it's just gonna. So in other words, where you have two wedges front and back, if the head jumps left or right, that's a sign, oh, I need to re-space the head differently. But where there's only one wedge, a twist can be an issue of, oh, I need to respace the head, if that makes any sense. So I just try and get them parallel, and the head's parallel, but they do kind of fan out after a while, right? So I try and do that appropriately too. These two are kind of close together. I wonder if there's anything I can do about that. Looks like if I twist this one a little more this way, then I will have to space it over, and that will even that gap out a little bit. Now, why is this? Whoa, okay, this damper is messed up. I have to make a bend. There's so much pressure on the side of the hole that it's sluggish. These are all totally free, and this one's draggy. So I'm going to take my wire bending pliers and bend the bottom bend to the left so that it doesn't. There, now it's totally free. Oh, look, lo and behold, now the spacing's better too on the damper heads. There we go. That was the issue. So there's lots of little tricks as you just kind of work with them. I've seen some really lazy, awful damper work, I feel like, with rebuilds. So it's definitely worth, upping your game. And there's a strange twist on this one. Let's see if I twist this a little differently. There we go. We'll fix this guy to match the other there. There, I like that a little better. Just see if I can even out the spacing over here between these two heads. There's a wide space and a gap, or a narrow space. Too far there. Okay. Okay. I like that for the most part. A few things I don't like. Just kind of catch my eye the wrong way. All right, now timing here. I've got a bunch here I need to make later because the bass isn't even moving. This whole section is moving up and down. So I'm going to go through timing again. And I'm going to take the worst one I see and I'm just going to push him up a little bit, loosen his screw, let him go down a little deeper, and then retighten the screw. Then, of course, I have to re-twist and everything, right? And re-tilt possibly. Okay. So for timing, I pretty much only need the two tools, my screwdriver and my pliers to fix the twist. Unless I notice something else, which I did here. How'd that happen, huh? There we go. Okay. I'm gonna keep going on this line here. Now I wonder on this one. Can't seem to make him go later for some reason. There, I think the issue on that one is the wire was almost too short, like it's grabbing the very end of the wire. I wonder if that's what the deal was. Okay. There we go. Now, going down the line here. You notice we're not hearing much ringing from the strings anymore. Very subtly and quietly, we've started to create that silence, the beautiful silence, space in sound. The articulator of tone duration. very nice and quiet. Okay. Just continuing to fix this timing. You can see I'm just bouncing the pedal a little bit to expose any early ones. Okay. It's getting more and more even, right? Hopefully you can see that the lift is with the pedals getting more and more even. Everything's getting more straight. Ah, beautiful. Now we're gonna keep the timing's getting much better. It's not, perfect, but some of that we might want to refine after it gets played in a little bit and the strings leveled and all that. Just a few more timing things in this section, then I'll move on to the treble section. That one goes real quick, usually, typically. Except for the last piano. That Model 8 was bizarre. Just how difficult it was to deal with. Okay, let's go here. I'm going to space this head over a bit. Just like that. Okay, it's looking really good. Okay, now I'm going to just work over this section, the treble here. Let me zoom you in on that. And, we can kind of see it, right? See if there's any chat questions or comments. Nope, nothing new. Feel free to comment, ask questions on anything you're seeing here. Look, this is what we've covered. Oh, I can't see the bass, but look, those are all just lined up pretty in the middle. And these are all scawampus, so we're going to fix that. Okay, then. Right. Now, the 9-foot, I have to reach back a lot more. I might have to stand up. So I'm just going to stand up, look down on these, and twist. Oh, that's not tight enough. There's no way that's tight enough. Tighten some of the screws here as needed. It's a little too soft-handed there with that one. Okay, now I'm going to line them parallel to each other and align them with the strings, just the twist wise. And that one's too loose, I guarantee. No, that's as tight as I can get them, just about. Okay. See? Damper work. You can do damper work. This is a Model D. That's working out just great. Don't be scared of it. You can work through stuff. Now, I have damper felts that I worked with. They're specific to the Steinway. They're cut just right. They fit on the damper heads. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of foundational things that were right to begin with that can make a big difference. You know, what kind of felts you use, who you got them from, the dimensions of them. Okay, now we got some craziness right here, right? We want to get the front to back tilt the way it should be. I should probably be able to feel the back hitting just as much as the front, right? Some of these are not that way. Tilt them differently. So I'm just gonna kind of put them in a line. Every once in a while you'll get one that's taller than the others for whatever reason, even though it's a flat felt just like the rest. I don't have a real good answer for that one. Other than just don't let it bother you too much. Let's see here. Okay. Hopefully those are starting to kind of level out. You can get a mirror sometimes behind these and it'll help out. Help see things that you wouldn't see otherwise. And we'll start fixing the tilt on all these crazy ones. See all these tilted over for whatever reason? I don't know how they got that way. A cat? I don't know. Who knows? I can kind of look to the side. These flat ones are harder to see the front to back tilt because the head is so short. You don't really obviously see the back lifting before the front, but you can, you know, what you can do though is like so you can look from the side and kind of see the general tilt of it. See if it's off in any way. That one's just taller. It just doesn't sit down as quite as much. Let's see here. Yeah. There we go. Get him down there. Okay. Not too shabby. I can kind of tap sometimes on the front and back and feel the resistance of the string just to make sure it's hitting the string firmly on the front and back. And honestly, these flats will kind of mold to whatever they need to after a while. So, you know, continue tilting a bit. Just getting them all tilted the same way as much as I can. Sometimes you'll have interference with the strings in the treble. If you have alignment issues, you can work with that. Okay. Then okay, is it looking better from back there? I would imagine so. Okay. Grabbing your different tools. We can check the refine the twist a little bit now when it's a little more obvious to us what needs to happen, which way it needs to go. Okay. Okay. Now I have, when I look down on these, I'm going to show you. So it's looking a lot better from the back, right? It's looking much better. There's a couple things that we see. One is this one, obviously, right? It's floating on the back, so we got to fix that. That's no good. Now I can see it better from here that it's doing that, but it wasn't obvious from the front. That's why it's good to have a mirror for these. It might still be floating just a little bit there. Okay. That's better a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm going to look from your camera again because it's a good way to look at things and see where I missed. There's some tilt issues there. Fifth damper in here, that's tilted off. That one's tilted off a little bit. Otherwise, it's getting pretty good. You know, I might want to change the front to back tilt on that a little bit to squish it down. So let me go do that. One, two, three, four, five. There's this guy. I can see it now from this side. Oh, went too far the other way. Good here. Okay. See if we're getting any better here. I imagine we are. Imagine it's looking better. I mean, as far as damping, slam dunk. It's great, you know. But I want it to look good too. So I see, I want to tilt that a little differently. You know what though, what I think what I'm really seeing, let me show you now. See if this solves it. I think what I'm really seeing is when you look from the top down now, how some are this way and some are this way and this way and this way and this way. Okay, so we're going to fix that. And I'm going to try and do it in a way that I haven't done before that was suggested. But I heard it from a class that we did at our local chapter. So I'm going to bring the camera back over here. And see if I can get down on these where we can see what we're talking about here. Okay, so those, we can see those, that area here where they're front to back. I'm going to take one out that needs to be moved. This one needs to be moved that way. And first I'm going to line up the tabs down here, the underlever flanges, top flanges. Oh. I'm going to line up the sostenuto tabs better. See how that starts to look up top there. Okay. So now we still have, yeah, so we still got issues here. So I'm going to take this one, it needs to go back this way. I'm going to take it out. I initially learned a different way to do this, but I'm going to try and do it this way. So I do see when I turn the damper wire this direction, I see that there is kind of some bends here, moving it back that way. I'm going to correct those with my wire bending pliers here. Kind of undo them. So let's see if that helps us a little bit. First of all, I'm just going to make that straight and see where we're at. This guy that way. Okay. Okay, so I just unbent it basically. See, now it's straight. Doesn't go wee, wee, wee. Let's see if that positioning's a little better for it. And it looks, yeah, that looks better. Let me go ahead and tighten it in place. And okay. Yeah, that actually put it in line better. So I'm just going to check and see if there's issues like that on these others. And that, if that's the reason. Look what we have here. What do you know? The same pattern. You see those bends? It's making it go, the head go that way. So I'm going to undo those again. All right. Use my wire bending pliers here. Don't want to overdo it the other way. Just want to true that up. Just about got it. I think I'm satisfied with that. Let's see if it's better aligned. This wasn't the technique I was talking about that I learned at the chapter meeting. This is just checking those bends. But the technique at the chapter meeting is to bend right at the head. But look, this is putting them in line. So in this case, the issue is just that the wires are bent out of straightness. Same thing here. So, and it corresponds with where these bends were made this other direction, which they need to have. So it just wasn't bent straight on with the tool somehow that was used. So now that was awful. All right, let's get it straight. Come on, straighten up. Fly right. Come on, brother. Brother Dampa. Okay. We're improving it. We're improving it. This one's out of. So I straightened this one, and it's still not as far that way as I want to go. So in this case, I'm going to put a bend a little bit that other way. Intentionally here. Just a little bit. This isn't the technique either, but I'm just, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I want to try this. That doesn't quite get it in. So I'm going to take this with needle nose, or maybe my parallel pliers here. So the problem is the head needs to come this way. Okay, so let's think through this. I go and I make a bend like this right there, and then I correct it right here. That's going to be pretty extreme, but it's definitely going to bring it that way, right? So I'm not going to be that extreme with it. Be just a little more subtle here. But I like using the edge of these needle nose. The wire's straight now. I might need to adjust the tilt after this, but it should position my head more correctly here. Sure enough, nailed it. Okay. And I'll show you from the top once I finish up here on the section. Okay. Okay, we've got just one more that's kind of sticking out here real badly. Get them out. Let's first of all correct any weird bends that are there. And I think same thing, it's not going to be enough to put it into alignment where we want it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit of a bend this way and then down the other way. There we go. Okay. That should do it. You know, I don't know why that never occurred to. That's the technique we learned that I learned it from the damper class we had at our local chapter meeting that I hadn't used before, at least not in this context. But I don't know why, because that's exactly what we do to these. That's exactly what we do to the damper heads over here that are spaced way out here. It's just in miniature. I don't know why that never occurred to me that I could totally line things up exactly how I want, and the damper will still be traveling straight up and down fine. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Maybe I'm just not that smart. So I can look at other things that I want to touch up on a bit while I'm looking down on it. Okay. Just fixing a couple things that I see. When you stand above them like this a little bit, some things become apparent that weren't apparent before. So I do recommend it as a good final check here. But things are looking pretty good for this stage of the game. I don't know that I feel the need to sometimes the heads, the way these dampers were set originally, the heads are not totally parallel to the string line here. Instead, they twist them a little bit to this way, because then the bevel that is on the damper head, its taper line, looks straight across the piano a little better, and it looks really sharp when you have it that way. So I can show you what I mean in a sec. First, just refinements here. And everything, if you sit and think about it and kind of think through what's going on, it's not so complex. It's more just, yeah, it's not as complex as you might think starting out. All these bends and what they do. Don't be scared of them. It's pretty straightforward. Like this issue that was puzzling me of the dampers being front and back. What do I do about it? But it's very obvious. Okay, so I'm gonna. In fact, There's a couple here that I need to correct that way. This one had a bend in it, so that needs correcting. Just all we're doing is straightening the wire out. You know, that was the big problem here. And even if we had to move it, now we know how. We just bend it along the top of the head. So this one needs to go a little further. I'm going to do this move again. So I'm going to the head needs to go this way. So I'm just going to bend right here. See that right there at the crook? And then down to counter that bend, to adjust for it. Okay. And now it's very, very slight, but it moved the head that way. And I really do like for whatever reason, the parallel pliers for that job. Doesn't seem like the right tool for that job, but I just like it. Okay. So this is in line now. Now actually I need to, the one next to it needs to go the other way. Which doesn't surprise me. I mean, you can have it both ways. You can have it off both ways. Okay. I'm gonna make it parallel with its neighbor now, pretty much. And then I just gotta space it over. Doesn't look parallel. What's going on with this thing? Yeah, that looks parallel. Space it over a little bit. There. And when it falls in line, it's like, oh yeah, that's correct. It just locks in there. And the tilt. Tilt was just off. Okay, beautiful. Okay, what else am I gonna tweak? I'm gonna tweak this one to be more in line with the string, actually. And then space them over it. Okay. There, things are looking pretty good. Kinda. Just want to tweak it a bit more. Tweak a little more this way. Screw. Which totally messes up your twist and you have to fix it. All right. It's looking pretty good. Just looking for any that I want to space forward or back. Here's one. Needs to come towards me. Take it out, fix the bends. And yet, I don't think that's going to be enough. So I'll do my new trick I learned. It's not really a trick, right? It's just obvious, but to me it's new. Okay. Let's stick that in there. That's starting to look really uniform everywhere. You know, really good, even with the timing. How's things? Let's see, how are things looking? Let's go from the front. Just zoom you out here. So when we look at the dampers here as I pedal, you know, you notice things are lifting pretty uniformly. I'll let go of it really slow. Did you hear that note? Boom. So obviously some things, some wedge stuff where there's the 3 strings that needs to be, maybe some wedges squeezed, some things like that. But I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Okay. I think I'm pretty satisfied. All right, I'm gonna tune it up. But first, I'm actually going to take here. Let's put this from the back again. So everything's looking pretty uniform now. See that? Just across the way. It's looking pretty nice. If I pedal, I'll pedal from the front, you can see. Okay, then I'm just going to fix a couple timing things here, a little earliness at the very top. It's too late now. I'm curious. I don't think the strings are following the pedal. I don't think that we have enough gap between the tray and the under levers. I'll get down and look. I'll bring the camera there. Oops. Just 1 minute here. I gotta straighten that out. The pliers. There we go. There's some bends here that have to be corrected. Too much. These are the upper bends on the lower part of the wire that makes it veer off or travel to one side or another. So I'm traveling it correctly if it's off here. Okay. So in general, this is looking a little earlier, but I'll worry about it after it's played in at this point. I do pick and fuss a little. That's what gets dampers really good. Okay. Stick the action in. And I don't expect it to work great. I expect it to work okay at this point. Just so you know the expectation. Yeah, sure it goes. Well, we can get a better feel now for the weighting, with the dampers. It feels pretty darn heavy. See how well this follows? It does follow the strings, so we do have some gap there, fine. It's harder, but up here we don't as much. It's like I need all these to be a little bit later, you know. And that's a shame. But really all it takes is the fastest way probably is just to loosen all these screws in this area at this point. You know, these three sections, and then set the tray where I want again, and then tighten the screws. So might be a little work, but not as much as like trying to go and each individual one, you know, try and time it just a tiny bit later. That would be much harder, I would think. So that one is causing us a little bit of a ringing. There we go. Also, I haven't woven felt on the waist end of the bass bridge yet. We'll do that. So I definitely want to do that before I get too picky with, you know, the sound stopping. We are in good shape. A couple things we want to change going forward. I'm going to take a dinner break, and no, a little more than a dinner break. It's getting later than I thought it would. I'm going to hit it again tomorrow. But anyway, thanks for joining in. Let me check if there's any questions or anything that I didn't address. Let's see. Pictures HD, thank you for the videos. Thanks very much. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for watching. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna go and sign off. We'll hit it again tomorrow. So mostly that's dampers installed in under 4 hours, and we did the Lyre too. So that's not bad. That's pretty good. We'll hit it next time. Thanks.